Hey guys, this is Nick from ForexForNoobs.com with some midday analysis. Today is Wednesday, the 31st of August, 2016, and the time is 11:40 here in the UK. You're looking at a USDCHF daily chart. In today's analysis, we're going to be looking at the pairs on the right here. We're going to be looking at each and every time frame for each of these pairs. The reason I do this is to scan for price action setups, namely reversal setups, which is mainly or almost only what I trade, reversal setups. So I'm going to be looking for reversal setups on all these pairs and all these time frames. One important thing about time frames, I don't trade all of these time frames. I trade the 3 hour, the 4 hour, the 6 hour, the 8 hour, the 12 hour, and the daily. These other time frames, like the 9, 10, and 11 hours, the 7 hour, and the 5 hour, they are there just for analysis purposes. The more you split a candle up, so the different... Okay, how do I explain this quickly? Price action is fluid. Price action is always moving. So when you look at only a limited amount of candle sizes, such as the 4 hour and the daily, for example, if that's what you look at, you're only seeing one snapshot of price action. I like to look at a lot of different candles because I like to see a lot of different snapshots of price action, so I get a better understanding of what price is actually doing in an area. So we're going to get started with USDCHF and work our way down. I do want to do a few quick notes for Forex Mastermind members. If you're a Forex Mastermind member or advanced course member, it's the same thing really. I am going to be releasing some updates to well, some new videos, some new videos for Forex Mastermind. I think the first one's probably going to go up tomorrow, and another one the next day, and another one the next day, so on and so forth. So there are new videos coming for you guys. They're going to be mainly about support and resistance areas, and then it's going to go on from there. I'll send you guys an email when I put up the first video tomorrow. And also, just a note for everyone, not just Forex Mastermind members, for everyone, I am off on holiday again on Friday the 2nd. Which means that next week's analysis, I'm going to try and do my analysis next week. I want to try and do the midday analysis Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week. But, you know, I can't promise anything. I'm set up for it. I've got, I bought a new laptop. And I bought like a little microphone that clips on that I can do my analysis with. So I should be able to do analysis tomorrow. But sorry, not tomorrow, next week. And yeah, hopefully it just goes on as normal, but it might be a little bit earlier than the normal analysis. So I might be doing analysis around this time, around about 11 to 12 UK time next week. Anyway, I think that's it for the announcements. So let's get started with today's analysis. Okay, so quickly on USDCHF, it looks like we're getting price stalling on a resistance area, a bit above the resistance area, but there is potential for a setup here. So let's check it out on other time frames. It's looking good on the other time frames actually. No, I haven't got that. Okay, so this is actually looking pretty decent on the 12 hour. I'm gonna probably check this one out on the 12 hour. So what we have here is obviously a nice strong preceding trend. Preceding trend just means price heading up into a resistance area. We've got indecision forming on this resistance area, and now this candle seems to be pushing up, so that tells us buyers are potentially in control. So it could be that this support resistance area, it was acting as resistance when price came up to it, but now it could be acting as support because price broke above it. Not really sure exactly what's happening here. But one thing I do know is if price turns around now and sellers take control, I might be willing to enter a short reversal trade, something like this. So I'd want to enter nice and low. The reason I'm entering low down here is because I really want sellers to confirm that they've taken control of price. I'd be a little bit worried otherwise because, you know, it has pushed quite high above this resistance area. This trade might not even come close to triggering because it really does look like buyers are taking control of price right now. So they might keep pushing up. But I'm saying in the event that buyers stall at this high or stall where they are right now, and price turns around and drops back down to around about the 98.10, around about there, I will definitely consider entering a short trade here, because then that would tell me that this is acting as resistance still. It would tell me that buyers weren't able to push up higher. They weren't able to maintain those highs. They're falling back down. Sellers are taking control of price. A new low has been made beyond the low of the indecision candle. Those are all signs that price is falling, and that you could get in for a quick 1 to 2 risk reward ratio, or potentially a 1.5 risk reward ratio. So we'll just see how that goes. But right now, it definitely looks like buyers are taking control of price and pushing up. And if they break that high, then this potential trade is going to be cancelled. And it looks like they're coming very close to that. So let's go on to another pair, GBP AUD. I don't have my keyboard shortcuts set up for... I created a few keyboard shortcuts. I posted them to the Forex Mastermind forum, so if you want to check them out, they're in the pub section. I created a few keyboard shortcuts, but I didn't turn them on today, so I have to click through everything, which is annoying. But you program shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts, and then you never turn them on when you need them. So EURUSD. EURUSD is looking good. Nothing much was going on GBP AUD, but EURUSD, maybe. I'm not too sure about this one. Can anyone guess why I'm not too sure about it? And it's not the fact that it's a EURUSD trade and that I'm apprehensive about trading euro. No one wants to guess? No, it's not the news. I don't care about news. Well, I don't care about most news. No, it's the problem I have with this, with looking at this setup, just taking a quick look at it, the risk to reward ratio might have been too high, but now that I've placed this here, I can see that it's not really too high. But when I first looked, when you look at a candle like that, and you see this long upper wick, because I want to get on beyond at a next high, so I want to get in after price makes a new high. When you have these long upper wicks, it really messes with your risk reward ratio, because if you enter here, your stop loss is down here. It makes your target smaller because you're entering so high above the resistance area. But in this case, it actually just works out. So with an entry here, you could get a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio by the time it hits the next resistance area, which is good. And this resistance area might be adjusted and pulled up, but I don't know. But you could also get a 1.5 risk reward ratio at around about, see this spike here? You guys know that whenever I enter a trade, I always look to the left and I look for potential problem areas. So this I'm identifying, like this rough area here, I'm identifying as a problem area. Why am I doing that? Because that bounce there and this bounce here. And also we could see some congestion through there. So price definitely struggles when it starts pushing through this area. But the fact that we can get a 1.5 risk reward ratio by the time we hit that area, that's okay. That's good enough for me. So yeah, we do have a potential trade forming on EURUSD. Now, ideally, what would happen here, right, is this current 12-hour candle might give us a better indecision candle to work with, might give us a better entry. But you know, that's probably not going to happen. And it's not as safe as taking it on the daily. So I'm probably going to trade this on the daily if it triggers. It would be traded something like this. With yeah, a target of 1.5 roughly, I think is what I'll go for. So yeah. Let's check out New Zealand CAD. Oh, New Zealand CAD, you're doing it again. Back up at this resistance area. We might be getting a reversal from New Zealand CAD, but I don't really have an interest in trading it. It doesn't look that safe, and yeah, I just don't want to trade New Zealand CAD. All right, Euro GBP is in between two support resistance areas. No, we're not going to get anything here. USDCAD is heading up to a resistance area. But that's a nice little indecision candle on the daily. All right, so let me teach you guys a little something about, now you guys know this probably because we talk about this a lot on Forex Mastermind, but for those of you who are new, this subject isn't covered a lot, but it's actually something that I'm going to be covering in the new videos that I talked about at the start of this analysis. Fluid support resistance. Fluid support resistance is basically, the basic concept is adjusting your support resistance areas when you start to see good indecision forming. But there is a trick to it, because if you adjust your support resistance areas every single time you see indecision, then, you know, where does it stop? What are the rules for support resistance? Are you going to place it every time you see price stalling? But sometimes it does make sense to adjust your support resistance area. So if we were to pull this area down to here, what I would do is I would look to the left and I would notice, ooh, we have a bounce there, we have a wick bounce there, we have a bounce there, we have a bounce there. So this support resistance area being here, it lines up with several bounces, quite a lot of bounces. And sure, the most recent bounce here is a bit higher. But if you look closely at this recent bounce, it looks like it was a weekend. So that kind of makes it a bit less significant than a non-weekend bounce, because when price, wait, let's just double check it is a weekend. Yeah, it is. I just wanted to be sure, but it did gap up. When price gaps over a weekend, I don't find it as significant. Or when a bounce is created from a weekend is what I mean. So yeah, if we pull this support resistance area down slightly, it's still a good support resistance area. It still matches all these bounces. It actually matches a bounce there too, really. That's a bit of a continuation bounce. Price came back up and then pushed down. Well, it didn't really last as a continuation, but it's still a bounce. So now we have price potentially forming a decision here on the daily. On the 12-hour, it's actually already closed as an indecision candle. So we might have a potential setup here. So this setup can be traded in two ways. I just want to see what it looks like on smaller time frames real quick. All right, so you could opt for trading it on the 12-hour. You could say, yeah, I'm going to take this on the 12-hour. I'm probably not going to do that. All right. The reason I'm not going to do that is because I just adjusted this support resistance area. I just pulled it down, and the most recent bounce, even though it was a weekend bounce and it's not as important, it's not as significant, I still can't deny that the most recent bounce was from up here. We do have a lot of evidence for bounces here, and that's fine. But the most recent one, and that's what's most important when placing support resistance areas, the most recent bounce was up here. Now, like I said, I'm willing to kind of somewhat ignore that bounce a little bit, ignore it a little bit, because it was created by a weekend, by price reversing after the weekend. So I'm happy to say, okay, you know, I might not consider this a proper support resistance area up here, and I might pull it down. But that being said, this new support resistance area that I've just pulled down here, that I've just adjusted, you know, I don't have full 100% confidence in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for this to form on the daily. Now, if it forms on the daily, you know, then we would have seen that price got stuck here for a whole day and then it started reversing. So that gives me a bit more confidence in this support resistance area, because it really shows to me that buyers have really struggled at that level and that sellers are really, really fighting back. So yeah, I'm going to wait for a higher time frame. I'm going to wait for the daily. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm not super confident with this resistance area. I've just pulled it down. I've just adjusted it. I'm not 100% confident with it. So I want to wait for the setup to form on the daily, because a setup that forms on a daily is stronger. It has more significance from a price action standpoint. So yeah, that's how I'm going to handle this. So it looks pretty decent, but I'm going to be looking at it on the daily. I'm not gonna trade it on the 12-hour. Fair enough. Any questions about that, guys? I have a lot of potential setups today. USDCHF just made a new high, so that one's already cancelled. But we got EURUSD and USDCAD. Sorry, I didn't see your... I currently have a pending order based off the 12-hour chart on this pair at this resistance level. Okay, fair enough. So you're going to trade it off the 12-hour. I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine. But like I said, for me, because I just adjusted the support resistance area, I'm going to just wait for it on the daily. But yeah, if you want to do it on the 12-hour, that's fine. If you had your support resistance area there before, then I guess you've got more confidence in this support resistance area. But yeah, I'd prefer to wait for it on the daily. Dailies just provide stronger setups, and because the resistance area I'm not confident in, then I want an otherwise strong setup. Because, you know, the way like I think about trades is, and this is another thing that's going to be coming in a video soon. I basically have a points system. So, you know, I assign points to specific parts of the trade setup, and if I get over a certain amount of points, then I consider it a good setup and I take it. So the fact that I've just adjusted the support resistance area down, it gives this a 0 or a -1 for support resistance area, but it's probably going to be a 0. I'm not going to have the exact numbers figured out until I take a proper look at this setup. But you know, it's getting 0 points for the support resistance area, so those points have to be made up somewhere else. Higher time frames are worth more points because they provide stronger setups. So I'm trying to make up those points by taking it on the daily, because the resistance area isn't strong. I think it's a very good way to grade your trade setups. So yeah, that's why I'm waiting out for on the 12-hour. Anyway, let's just get rid of USDCHF. And what were we at? AUDUSD. All right, AUDUSD is in between two support resistance areas, so nothing really happening here. USDJPY is in between two support resistance areas, so nothing really going on here. EURAUD is yeah, it's potential continuation here, but it's not anything that would be worth trading. New Zealand USD In between two support resistance areas, nothing worth trading here. Gonna go through all the time frames anyway, but yeah, there's nothing here. GBP USD. Yeah, it looks like it's reversing already, but there's it would be too late if you would want to enter. Alright, GBP JPY. It's forming indecision above the resistance area. Alright, so this would be a good example of what I was talking about earlier, like what I was talking about with USDCAD. So in USDCAD, I was talking about fluid support resistance and adjusting your support resistance areas to match the latest indecision candles. So would I do that here? Because we have an indecision candle forming. So I could say, okay, I'm going to pull the resistance area up to here. That way I can take a trade here. But in this specific case, it doesn't really make that much sense, because when I pull it up, I look to the left and what do I see? I see congestion forming along here. I like to place my support resistance areas on the congestion and not above it. So I would want my support resistance area down here on the congestion. And here we have a bounce from there. So that body bounce is a little bit lower. So in this case, adjusting it to match that support resistance area would not be a good idea. So I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to say there's no potential trades on GBP JPY. So, you know, there are rules to fluid support resistance. You definitely need to have something to the left that backs up your support resistance area. And in this case, there simply isn't. Euro GBP has broken out. It's done its thing. That took some time. Sorry, Euro JPY I meant to say. Were we talking about this the other day? Weekly chart, long potentially here. Could be happening. Not something that I would have traded, but yeah, did anyone enter long on the weekly chart, Euro JPY here? What's going on here? AUD New Zealand's approaching the support area and it's already slowing down, so there might be a potential long forming on AUD New Zealand, but it's a long way from actually happening. But I'd want this candle to push down into here and then indecision to form. So it's at least a few candles away. So let's not bother with that. Nothing on AUD JPY. New Zealand CAD we already went through. Bye-bye New Zealand CAD. I don't want to look at that pair right now. And USDCHF is still doing its thing. With it just broke up above. There's still potential here, you know, like this candle could become a decision. It could fall back down. There's still potential here, but the further up it goes, the less and less a potential trade is going to happen. It's quite clear that buyers are taking control right now. I'll keep a close eye on that, but yeah, I don't think anything is going to come of this anymore. But Euro USD, there's definitely potential here on the 12-hour or the daily. And USD CAD, like I said, I'm going to be waiting for the daily for this one. And I'm going to see how it plays out on the daily. But other than that, guys, I think that's it for the analysis today. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up below. If you have any questions regarding this video, then leave a comment below and I'll respond to it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to get notified as soon as I upload my videos. My Facebook and Twitter are in the description below. Thanks again for watching and happy trading.